Hello everyone, Chef Maka here. Thank you for clicking on this video. And in today's video, I'm going to show you my recipe for beef and barley stew. The ingredients for the recipe are as follows. Here I have 3 pounds of beef bones, 3 pounds of beef shank, 12 ounces of beef bacon. I have 8 ounces or 1 cup of coarsely ground barley. I have a 1/4 cup of minced garlic, 2 ribs of celery and 1 large onion finely diced. Here I have 1 ounce by weight dried mushroom. This is hen of the woods, but you can use whatever mushroom you prefer. On this plate I have my spices. This is 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of mixed dried herbs. This is a combination of bayleaf and thyme, 1 tablespoon of mixed ground peppercorns, and here I have 1 tablespoon of caraway seeds finely ground. I also have some oil for frying. And off to the side, I have some vegetable broth I made with some vegetable scraps, including carrots, onions, celery, and parsley stems. You can use whatever broth you prefer, or just water if that's all you have. And the first step is to fry off the meat, including the bacon, then the bones, and then finally the shank. I'm going to show you what that looks like now. All I'm doing here is just squeezing all of the juice out of the vegetables to give the broth a more richer taste, and so as to fully utilize the ingredients. All right, and there's our broth for the recipe. Alright, so here's the bacon fried till crisp. And I'm just going to remove it from the pot and set it off to the side. And I'm not going to remove any of the fat. I'm going to leave all the fat in there for browning the rest of the meats. Alright, so now I'm going to begin adding the beef bones. Alright, so now that all the meat is browned, I'm now going to add in my onions and celery and brown those as well. This is going to get all the fond off the bottom of the pot. I'm going to just scrape it up. Now I'm also going to go ahead and add in all my spices. Next ingredient I'm going to add is the garlic. Now that our vegetables are soft, I'm going to go ahead and return the beef to the pot. Including bacon and everything. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the vegetable broth and water to cover if necessary. I'm going to give this a stir, cover it, and then I'm going to allow it to simmer for about 1.5 to 2.5 hours, or until the meat is very, very soft and falling off the bone. I'll show you what it looks like after it's ready. So after about 1.5 hours of cooking, the meat is just starting to get tender and fall off the bones. Now what I'm going to do is remove all of the pieces of meat and the bones and place them in a bowl off to the side to cool off. I'm then going to separate the meat from the bones, throw the bones out, and then the meat's going to be roughly chopped and then returned back to the pot to continue cooking. Now I'm going to show you what that looks like. So all I've done is taken out the pieces of bone, and I've left pretty much all the connective tissue because that's going to break down in the remaining hour to an hour and a half cooking. I'm also leaving all the bone marrow. Some of it has melted already into the stew, but some of the pieces that are larger and still within the meat are staying in here to go back in and cook down. They're not going to be thrown out or wasted, that's for sure. So I'm just going to cut this down a little bit more. As it stews and I stir it, it's going to break down a lot, so I'm not worrying too much about it being in really small pieces because it's already starting to get really soft. I could do this on a cutting board if I wanted, but really I'm just going to let the pot do the rest of the work. And yeah, I'm going to cut this up a little bit more, return it to the pot, and continuing to simmer it. Alright, so I've returned the meat back to the pot. One other ingredient I just added now, and I'm stirring in, is the pureed mushrooms. that I made earlier. Again, that's the hen of the wood mushroom. And it's going to impart its flavor into the beef. I'm just going to cover this and allow it to cook for about another hour to an hour and a half. Alright, so now that all the meat is very tender and soft, the last step is going to be to add the 1 cup of coarsely ground barley. Now I'm just going to let this simmer for about another 15 to 20 minutes or until the barley is fully cooked. And then the stew is completely finished. Another option is to add potatoes to this, peeled and coarsely chopped. That would be a fine addition, but it's up to you whether or not you want to put those in. And then I'll show you what it looks like once it's dished up.